Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Coming to the last social institution that we're going to talk about in this chapter is education. So now how education has become and how education is a very major entity as a social institution is what we're going to talk about. So the meaning and the definition of the term education that I'm sure you people are very well aware of is that education is the transmission of knowledge and skills to the younger generation. So it is a transmission of knowledge, it is a transmission of skills from one generation which is older to the younger generation, that is, from one person like me to the younger generation, that is you people. It is a system of education that is found in all the societies. The system of education is there in all the societies, all the, and it has a history as well. It is not something which is very new. It is not something, though the methods have evolved, though there are changes and differences in the methods definitely, but then it has been present in all the societies. In its simple meaning, education stands for a learning process. When education stands for a learning process, it means that, it is the whole process which is there wherein this concept of education is important. It is basically the meaning of, when your learning concepts are being involved, when you're learning something, the whole process of learning something is known as a part of education. In the ancient time, it was primarily taking place in the family and the farms. Obviously, because, in fact, in today's world also, the family is the first school. The mother is the first teacher. So, how are you taught to be responsive? How are you taught to be talking? Or, how are you taught, in fact, to, not put your hands in your mouth? All those very small little things are something that you're taught by the family member. It's something that you're taught by the mother. So basically, however, in the previous times, in the ancient times, it was majorly all the education taking place in the farms and the family. Farms die because you will have to relay that we were an agricultural nation. We were an agricultural society and hence the farms. So education is referred to as shikshana in Indian context, as in the shiksha in the Indian context. Moving ahead, it has been derived from the root shiksha, which means the acquisition of culture. So when you have the acquisition of culture, when you have that concept of acquisition of traits and responsibilities and your, the cultural groups and all of those that are a part of your culture is termed as shiksha, from where the word shikshana has been taken, that means education. So education means becoming a cultured person, very, very important. Education basically means becoming a cultured person, something who is acceptable in the society, something who is doing those actions, who's taking, who's taking such actions that are acceptable in the society and are not derogatory to anyone present out there. That is what the concept of shiksha or the education is. However, the English term education is derived from the Latin word educare, that literally means to bring up. That literally means to take care and to bring up, and hence is the part of education, or rather hence is the term that is being taken care or in the education setup, or the education word has come up from there. It is closely related to the word educare, which means to bring forth, to bring in front, to see development, to see growth. All of these aspects are a part of, or all of these understandings are a part of education. Now, in the strict sense, we can say education consists not merely in imparting knowledge, but also in providing for the development of innate abilities of the individuals and learning of the skills. It is not only about me giving you information, me trying to impart knowledge. It is not about you just understanding the content of, the content of whatever is being taught to you, but it is also about providing for the development of the innate abilities. whatever you have within you, whatever you have, some kind of a spark, some kind of interest, some kind of hobby, all of these, when you're trying to build on those abilities, when the other person is just helping you out in building those abilities and learning of the skills, as minor as be it swimming, as minor as, be it your task of speaking, eating, walking, all of these are a part of education that we talk about. In actually its broader sense, education is a process whereby a social heritage of society is passed on from one generation to another so that the younger generation learns the rules of behavior of the society into which one is born. So in a way, you are being transmitted those ideas, you are being transmitted those knowledge which is important for you as the next generation, as a part of your society, so that your behavior, the rules of the behavior that your society accepts is something that you inculcate within yourself and hence becomes a part of education. So according to Rig Veda, education is a process that makes an individual self-dependent and unselfish person. So we have Vedas, I'm sure you will be aware of. According to the Vedas, it is there that, education is a process which makes you self-dependent. Obviously, education is something that gives you knowledge, that gives you those tactics of survival in the society when you grow up, and hence makes you self-dependent. Also an unselfish person. The whole concept of education, when I said it is not just about the knowledge, it is not just about the content, it is also about the values that you have, it is also about the skills that you acquire. So you tend to become an unselfish person, wherein you're not just self-centered, you're not just looking for your benefits, you're not just looking into your aspects of your personal attributes of life, but you're talking about the society as a whole. You want to take care of the society as a whole. Swami Vivekananda also in the same context said that education is the expression of internal powers of man. So how by acquiring those knowledge, it is something that the internal power that you have, be it in terms of, taking care of the society, taking care of your own self, spreading happiness, spreading joy, all of those aspects, internal power that a man has is something that is education for him. However, in the opinion of Plato, it is said that education is a process of filling beauty and maturity in the body and soul of the student. So you're trying to fill in maturity, you're trying to fill in beauty in the person, in the soul and body of the student. When we say we're trying to build in, we're trying to build in maturity or we're trying to fill in the beauty, it is not to do with the physical appearances part. It is to do more with your mental sphere, it is to do more with your social sphere, it is to do more with your emotional sphere. How you how you accept that beauty of being happy, how you accept that beauty of spreading happiness, how you accept that beauty of spreading joy, treating everyone equal, not really degrading anyone. All of these aspects together are considered when you talk about the filling of the beauty and the maturity in the body and the soul of the student. When you talk about maturity, it is a process of growing up. It is concerned with the growth, with the development of a person. It is seen that, how you as a person are growing, how you realize, you analyze your responsibilities, you have those aspects within you you let those things soak that, okay, this is a part of your responsibilities. Just by knowing one aspect of your responsibility, you tend to relate it to the other. You see society as a whole as your entity, as as a part of you and you being a part of the society, and that's how you grow. Anderson, however, defines education is a social process in which an individual learns the things necessary to fit to the life of the society. Like we have talked about, it is more about society, it is more about how you take care of the society is more about how you are acceptable in the society and how you grow with the growth of the society. That is what education is. Emily Durkheim talks about education as the socializing or socialization of the younger generation. That we have talked about, you are in a way socializing the younger generation, wherein you're treating them, you're telling them what is right, what has to be done, what has not to be done. Moving to the other concept of aims of education. Now, when you come up with some or the other thing, you do have the aims and the objectives behind it. Talking about the aims of the education, we have there are aims of the education wherein you have integrates individuals with society, perpetuation of culture, and increasing the efficiency of the individuals. Now, when you talk about this, you actually see it is integrating the individual with society. It is kind of making the individual relate with society. It is giving those values, it is giving them those ideas that the society has and should be adopted by the child so that the individual feels a part of the society. Perpetuation of culture, how you absorb your culture, how you learn about your culture, how you kind of react, how you kind of react to the cultural activities present. That is what they're talking about. And increasing the efficiency of individuals, obviously by the skill sets that are there. And next being increasing the efficiency of the individual by the skill sets that we have, by the knowledge that we acquire, by the ideas that we have, by the multiple varied ideas that we get, and based on that we analyze those ideas and make our own individual ideas, is how efficient we become as an individual. That is what these are talking about. Now, there are two types majorly of the education system. One is the formal education system and the other one is the informal education system. Talking about the formal education system, which is imparted in a well-defined institutional setting, is known as the formal education system, something like you have in your schooling setups. Now, it is the characteristics of the modern system of education. In simple words, the formal education refers to the school education with a formalized set of institutionalized setup. It refers to the schools is what they write here, that which is something which is a formal institution for you to understand and to gather knowledge. The formal education has three important components. One is an organized structure that you have in terms of your school. Second, a definite and a properly spelled out content of the education that you have in terms of your curriculum, and defined rules and regulations that you have in terms of your what all are the rules, or what all are the laws, or what are the code of conduct at school, in the formal education system, is what these three aspects are talking about. Talking about the informal education system. Now, informal education system is in which an individual acquires the knowledge or education in due course of day-to-day life activities in the family and outside in the company of others, constitutes the system of informal education system. When you do not go to school, you just involve yourself into daily activities, you just involve yourself into day-to-day activities, be it with your family, be it with your classmates or the playmates outside, and hence involve or learn a lot of things, the barter systems that you learn, the economy that you learn, the kind of language that you learn, the more about plants, animals, all the aspects of social sciences that you learn, the aspects of sciences that you learn, all of this that you learn while you are just in the day-to-day activities involving yourself with the family and the friends is what incorporates the informal system. Family kinship groups impart the informal system. The language is the only oral and learning is by doing. So, language is only oral. You do not have to write and make notes in that. It is learning while you are doing certain things and learning by just the exchange of words and exchange of ideas. People learn their language, rituals, ceremonies, norms, values through the family and community activities, folklores and folk tales. We do have folklores and folk tales. We do have the understanding how people tend to learn all of this. So we never were taught about Ramayans and Mahabharats, or the religions and the cultures according to the religions in the schooling setup. We have been taught about it in the school. We have been taught about it in the families. We have learned it. We have observed our family members and seen that. So it has never been, they have never told us to write that I will remove my slippers while entering the temple. It is not a written form of it. It is just something that we have been seeing, observing, we have been told, and we are practicing. So hence learning by doing, and hence language playing a very important role in the learning in the informal sector. Now, informal education dominates mainly in societies where there are no schools and insufficient number of schools to provide the education. However, even in the modern societies where schools are available, children do receive education informally along with the formal education they receive in schools. That is what I was trying to, they've taken an example, and that is what I was trying to tell you before as well, that your family values, your morals, your manners, the family history, heritage, all of these aspects is that you learn in the company of your family members. It is not me who can tell you about your culture in a better way, someone who might not be practicing it in a better way than your family, because they have been practicing it from generations. They have been knowing about it from generations, and hence they have a better understanding of the concept. They have a better understanding of the ideas than me as an outsider will have. And hence, even if you are going to the formal setup schools, there's a lot of learning that is happening at home in the form of the informal education.